Finally, we have the IEP. First, the multidisciplinary evaluation team, and this is a minimum of 2 persons who are responsible for evaluating a student suspect of having a disability. The team shall include at least 1 special education teacher or other specialist who has knowledge of the suspected disability. Next, the read or review of existing evaluation data. This is for students who receive special education services. Eligibility status is reviewed every 3 years. Reevaluation is required unless the parent and the district agree that reevaluation is not necessary. This is the IEP team. Sometimes the student is not present. It depends pretty much on their age. But if the student is old enough to be there and advocate for themselves, the student will be there. Next is a regular education teacher or teachers. Next is a school system representative, then a transition services agency representative. This is only if they're in high school and require transitions. Then the parent or parents, others with knowledge or special expertise about the child, a person who can interpret evaluation results. This is usually a school psychologist, and then special education teacher or teachers or provider will be involved in the IEP process. Now, the initial IEP, each public agency must ensure that 1, a meeting to develop an IEP for a child is conducted within 30 days of determination that the child needs special education and related services, and 2, as soon as possible following development of the IEP, special education and related services are made available to the child in accordance to the child's IEP. And a transition IEP, this contains transition services, including courses of study needed to assist the child in reaching their post-secondary goals. So more about an annual IEP. Each student with a disability must have his or her IEP reviewed at least annually. It can be reviewed sooner if a parent or teacher feels that this is necessary. In order to make this determination, each service provider should have gathered specific information through observation, tests, work samples, etc. And if the goals and objectives have not been met, the service provider should be able to offer specific reasons based on the information she or he has gathered, and based on determination of this year's present level of performance, related goals and objectives should be specified. And finally, the services the student needs to meet future goals and objectives should also be noted. So a reevaluation is an evaluation that happens after the initial IEP. It isn't the same as an annual review, which happens every year, nor is it additional testing. A re-eval is a full-fledged look at your child's needs, and this happens like every 3 years. Manifest determination is a process required by IDEA, which is conducted when considering the expulsion, I wrote exclusion, but it should be expulsion, of a student with a disability that constitutes a change of placement. Next, due process hearing. So according to the IDEA, it provides a formal way to resolve disputes in the school. Due process takes time, and if the situation isn't easily resolved, you may need an attorney or an advocate. An addendum to the IEP, I found online the Gracia Isabella RESD's information, and so this is a template that can be used in this county, and with the consent of a parent and school personnel, an IEP addendum may be used to make minor changes to the IEP during the year in its effect. If substantial or comprehensive changes need to be made to the student's IEP, an IEP team meeting should be convened to develop a new, complete IEP team report. So this is just for minor changes. And then finally, progress reporting. Regular reports to parents provide a mechanism to monitor a student's progress toward the annual goals and to evaluate the effectiveness of the student's special education services. If progress is such that the student is not expected to reach his or her annual goals, the committee must review and revise the student's IEP to ensure that the student is being provided the appropriate supports and services. And that is all.